Voice America's Variety Channel and the bratcon Broadcasting Network are proud to present BratCon Radio with your host Dennis Campbell, co-created by Pat Caves. BratCon Radio explores the lives of the sons and daughters of military, government, and diplomat personnel who make up the 5% of Americans known as the brat culture, or officially as dependents. The brats have spent at least part of their lives living on U.S. military installations at home or around the world. Now, here is your host, Dennis Campbell.
Born, raised, and trained.
Born, raised, and trained. On the broadcast tonight, our first opportunity for the microphone to travel as we have our Fort Campbell, Kentucky interviews with soldiers of the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, unit moniker of Bratcon, and they are returning from deployment in Afghanistan. We were delighted to interview numerous spouses and children of our troops, which you'll hear later in tonight's program. We'll also talk briefly with Army brat Rick Connell, who composed the music and wrote lyrics for our new theme song, Born, Raised, and Trained, as well as a special single we are releasing jointly that Rick produced especially for the troops returning from the combat theater. First, our program announcements. Our access to Fort Campbell and the Bratcons of the 3rd Brigade Combat Team would not have been possible without the help of Army brat Kim Goebel, a loyal brathead that works at Fort Campbell, nor without the leadership of the 3rd Brigade Combat Team's Rear Detachment Commander, Major Siri, whom we'll grab for a few minutes later in the program, and we're indebted to him for his willingness to allow the unique access we had. On the show next week, we'll visit with Stephen Mansfield, Army brat and New York Times bestseller author. You'll find his story very compelling and his latest book riveting. Finally, some of the interviews in the Welcome Home hangar at Fort Campbell were drowned out by the crowd noise reverberating around the hangar and were rendered unusable. It does not diminish our gratitude for the opportunity we had to visit with those families. We shall cherish this experience always. Now to the heart of it. Let's see if we can get Rick Connell on the line to talk about his music composition skills and the specific album and singles he produced for BratCon Radio. Rick, welcome to BratCon Radio. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us.
Pleasure, Dennis.
Rick, I know you're a big supporter of BratCon Radio, and we can't thank you enough for what you've done. You're a Army brat. You're a podiatric surgeon by profession today, and you're also a musician, composer, and writer of lyrics. Give us a little background again, real quick, if you would, on your brat experience as from a childhood standpoint.
Okay, well, the average brat, I was born in Japan, so at Camp Sama, so that gives you a little bit of history. Moved around Northern Virginia for a number of years. Went to Panama for a couple of years in high school, ended up in Germany, graduating from high school in Germany, and then did some associate work at the University of Maryland in Munich. So then ended up in Arizona and finished my undergraduate degree at Arizona State. So there you are. That's a quick...
And now you're a podiatric surgeon in the Arizona area, and then you also compose music.
Yeah, listening to your interview with Dan Miles, I don't dare put myself in the same category. I'm not really. I don't read music. I don't write music. It's more of a hobby, but I take a certain string, play it, and then try to build on that. So it's kind of a unique. It's not. I don't think your typical background for musicians, but since it's basically a hobby. But fortunately, it's worked out, and I've got some music, and I enjoy doing it. That's probably the most important thing. Well,
certainly we were appreciative of the theme song that you wrote for BratCon Radio titled BratCon is on the Air, and it's compiled with other tracks known as the 13 Colors Edition. Do you want to give us a little bit about the background on those tracks?
Right, yeah. 13 Colors, each one of those songs were written about a letter that I had received. I supported school in Cambodia. And so I had gotten the kids from the Cambodian schools to write a letter about their daily life, and I took each one of those letters. There were 6 kids that I'd picked, and I wrote a song for each one of the letters that I had received, and then I compared and contrasted those with 6 American kids, and just a glimpse to each life. So the 13th song, which is called 13 Colors, is actually a compilation of all the songs, supposedly bring the best out of all the kids, the best what's in them, and then just put it into music, and it's on the album. And anything that we do with that actually goes to help support the Cambodian children's school, as well as we do some local charity work here in the Mesa, Arizona area as well.
And you were generous enough to donate a portion of those proceeds from album sales to BratCon Radio as well, and we can't thank you enough.
On the air.
Yeah. Sure. Hey, Rick, unsolicited, then when you heard about our Fort Campbell, Kentucky program and pending interviews, you also wrote a new single entitled Back Home Again. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I use the bratcon radio as I did the podcast, and I use it when I run. And I was out running, listening to one of your broadcasts, and I recall an interview you had with the Major about you were going to do a show live in Fort Campbell, welcoming home some of the troops. And that was one of those, it just kind of struck me. So when I got home from my run, which was about 58 minutes, because that's how long the broadcast is. I think I took a shower, I'm not sure, but I sat down at the computer and got my guitar out. I just thought that, I don't remember hearing songs that have been written specifically for returning troops, because there's so much emotion with that. And so I just sat down and kind of wrote the lyrics and did the music probably within about an hour. And it just the actual first part of the song, if you listen to it, it kind of envelops the entire emotions. And it goes like the plane touches down and my eyes look around, up out of my seat, can't wait till we meet. To me, that the entire thing is when I envision what those soldiers must feel like, when they're finally touched down after having been deployed, Afghanistan and Iraq, that must be overwhelming, what they've been through, and then to finally be able to meet their family again. And that's kind of where the song came from. Indeed,
and it's good to hear where you acquired that inspiration from. It certainly got our attention. I can tell you that the 3rd Brigade Combat Team leadership has listened to the song as well, and they were emotionally struck by it. Rick, we're going to roll that track and that song in its entirety right now. And for our listening audience, you should know that this particular song will be available for sale as a single, combined with our BratCon is on the Air theme album with 13 Colors Edition. And you can get to that by going to our webpage at www.bratcon.com. Click on the theme music tab at the top, and it'll take you right to iTunes, where you can download it and listen to it. Let's listen to Back Home Again.
The plane touches down, my eyes look around, up out of my seat, can't wait till we meet. Back home again, I'm back home again, from Afghanistan, strapped on my pack, I'm back from Iraq, some friends left behind, way on my mind. Back home again, I'm back home again, from Afghanistan. Every mile of the way, couldn't wait for this day. Now I just don't know what to say. All that I know, all that I feel, makes coming home seem so unreal. Back home again, I'm back home again, from Afghanistan. Strapped on my pack, I'm back from Iraq, some friends left behind, way on my mind. Back home again, I'm back home again, from Afghanistan. The town seems the same, it's me who has changed. The sights I've seen, the blood I can't clean. The truth is so clear, war is not fair. Just guide me home, my home. has changed, the world's not the same. I can hardly remember my name, but I remember every woman, every boy, every man who laid down their life defending this land, and the freedom to say how happy I am today. Glad to be home, my home. Back home again, I'm back home again from Afghanistan, Afghanistan. Strapped on my back, I'm back from Iraq. Some friends left behind, way on my mind. Back home again, I'm back home again from Afghanistan, Afghanistan. Strapped on my back, I'm back from Iraq. Some friends left behind, way on my mind. Back home again, I'm back home again from Afghanistan, Afghanistan. Strapped on my back, I'm back from Iraq. Some friends left behind, way on my mind. Back home again, I'm back home again from Afghanistan, Afghanistan. Back home.
Well, Rick, that certainly is an emotional song and very apropos for our interviews that we did in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And we're going to roll into another segment where some of those interviews will air. But I want to thank you again on behalf of Bratcon Radio and the troops of the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, Major Siri and all of his team down there, known affectionately by a moniker of Rakkasans. And thank you so much for your support and your time.
Yeah, and Dennis, one more thing, if you don't mind, I'd like to welcome home my nephew, Captain John Cuteman. He's actually returning to Fort Campbell on the 3rd, which is tomorrow. So I think, again, that's a special song for all troops coming home, and I'm just glad that he made it home safe as well.
Yeah, you got your dates wrong. Today's the 3rd, brother.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. You lost a day somewhere. Well, we're glad your nephew, this is your sister's son?
Right.
Super. We're glad he's coming home safe and sound as well. Rick, thank you again so much for spending the time with us today.